Yeah. Is that new?
Yeah, I just brought it.
Recording in progress.
Okay, today's Thursday, March 13th, 2025 at 6 p.m. We have a joint meeting with the Board of Selectmen and the Finance Committee for budget review. We are at Old Town Hall, 1111 Somerset Ave. Could I have a call to order?
Nicole Mello, present.
Mark Pacheco, present. Finance Committee wants to open their meeting.
Finance Committee will call our meeting to order too. And again, tonight, nobody on Zoom, so we won't do the roll call except to say hi to Woody.
Okay, so we have the planning board here, I believe, and I believe I entertain a motion to take, the Pledge of Allegiance. Yes, thank you very much. That's very important. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. I would entertain a motion to take the Industrial and Development Commission out of order as well.
I'll make that motion.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right.
Dan Higgins, Vice Chair for the Planning Board. So we're proposing I think it's a 2.4% cut, if I did the math right, from last year. Aside from mandated changes, such as clerical union prescribed things, basically we're eliminating the line item that was for overtime additional. It seems to never get spent year after year, so it's just been eliminated. For professional legal services, I think we're cutting it rather lean, but we did decrease it by $2,000. These are for potential legal fees that may have come up during the course of the year. So from 12,500 down to 10,500. Some other smaller reductions in terms of postage, legal publications for public hearings. There's a line item here about the Serpent assessment. It did go up by 25 cents. So that was the only unknown at the time that this was put in, but it was only a quarter change here. So it's a decrease from what was last year's proposed budget and approved of $60,866 down to $59,357. I didn't know if anybody had questions about any of the particular line items.
I have 58,996 here. You said it was 59,000.
The copy I have, which actually Carrie provided, was 59,357 as the total. Is that not what's matching up with your records?
Okay, so that'll get you the 2.5%.
Yes, that brings us down to 2.4%, right?
Well, maybe that's what it is.
I can go through her, I'm not sure what you're looking at. I can go through what her line items were for potential cost if you want to do it line by line. Or
While they're looking at that,
Okay.
the stipend members, you've got 4 members on the board in addition to the chair. Is that stays steady?
that stays steady.
And is that the most you can have? Or,
Five members. At the current time, I believe so. I think
Bless you.
statutorily, I think it can be as many as 7 by state law, but we have a set 5, yes.
Okay, thank you. So I guess on that, so the stipends, I'm just curious as to this number. So if there are 8 members, stipended members, it comes out to $22.39 per member.
4 plus the chairman, 5.
Right, of the 4 stipended members.
Okay.
That's just a weird number. How did that get arrived at? 2209, 2239.
I'm sorry, if I may, over the years, they've been giving them increases to the stipends. You know, it's 2%, 2.5%. So that's how their number kind of wound up like an oddball number, as opposed to like a sort of flat rate, like 2,000 per person.
Okay, and then to be a member on the planning board, are there any special qualifications qualifications people need?
It is an elected position. I don't know that there are any particular qualifications required to run, so, other than to be a resident of the town.
Okay, thank you.
So in the mail, we did have a planning board with the 59, 357, 53.
Okay.
The math's a little off on the changes because it's showing an increase year over year, but I'll pass this down if everybody wants to take a look at it.
Okay.
Biggest hit for you, was the professional and technical line?
Correct,
Right.
reduction of 2,000.
Okay.
It's a complete estimate based upon what are the legal needs in the coming, fiscal year. It's cutting it rather lean, actually.
Yeah, so my follow-up question was, how lean is that cut? And then two, where are you at spend year to date? I think we have, as of the end of the year, I only have 100 spent for actual expenditure on the 24. Oh, sorry, is it right here?
No,
Is
that's
my
still,
question answered?
still the June.
Oh, okay,
Just looking up the current spend, I don't know off the
Yeah,
top of my
nope.
head.
thank you.
Professional tech, 5,300.
That's weird. It's off,
I
so
can't
maybe this is
explain
just wrong.
why it's only $100. That does not make sense to me unless
Maybe-
there's a
maybe there's a
large
salary.
backlog
Yeah,
of
that's gotta be
It's
the
the same
salary.
numbers.
It's the same
of
numbers.
receipts. Yeah. I mean,
13,
we're over
16.
halfway into the year. And legal services has definitely been used more than
Okay.
30
Planning board,
minutes.
you have the special
3:30 added.
article, so I think she's been putting some legal services through the article and not through professional and technical.
Okay, all right. Okay.
On a previously passed article,
Yes.
That does not come under this department number?
when we vote on it at town meeting, set that money aside, use that money.
So on that vote, Serena, was that just for legal costs?
Yes.
Yeah, I believe that was 2 years ago that vote was taken.
Okay.
So that's why there's not a lot.
Yes, you're right, that makes sense.
Okay. Is it, I'm trying to procedurally, if that worked in the past, is that, what's that?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying if that worked in the past, I guess my question is, why have the professional and technical subline here when we just have to vote on giving you the funds that you need for the legal?
My understanding, and I have to go back and reference that article, I don't remember the language off the top of my head. At the time, it was intended for a specific case
Okay,
and the legal fees associated with that case. So when she said she's been putting money against it, it's probably as it relates to that case. It's not an open item for any and all legal fees.
gotcha, so this is the 10-5 is the
Correct.
open item for,
Yes.
okay.
If I remember right, that article was for one project, right, one development that the money was set aside to defend.
I think initially it was. I'd have to look back at what the final language in the motion ended up being. If we restricted it to that one particular case, but I have a feeling we might have worded the motion a little more open-ended in case there were any other appeals in other subdivisions or projects that we just didn't know about. So that money wasn't only for that one project. I'd have to go back to read the final motion on that.
Right, because I think what we're trying to understand is, like if you look at 24 expenditures too, you had the 12.5 budgeted and about 1,100 of it was spent, right? And I would assume again, because probably the primary legal battle that you were facing, we had the vote, like, that you got the funding for it, so it didn't come out of this line. So I'm just talking out loud about.
The only consideration when I say it's lean, it's not so much that we expect to spend to that amount because we have a planned schedule of legal requirements during the year, as it is to the fact that should something arise, if we are unable to pay our lawyers, basically it's easy for somebody to just outbid us and drag us out in court, and suddenly we don't have the ability to continue. Even $10,000 is not a lot of money, but it gives us enough of a buffer to cover should that eventuality arise.
Right, and I totally understand. I mean, last thing we want is not to pay the lawyers that we need, right? It's more of where we could get that funds from that I'm wondering about. Like if they're necessary.
So just to clarify, in 24, the expense is so low because the article was available in 24 as well. Okay.
Okay. That's all I got.
Nicole, any questions?
No.
I don't have any questions either.
Okay.
Anyone else? All right, so, next,
Oh, wait, can I ask one more question? What is the average hours per week, or how often does planning board meet?
Twice a month. During normal sessions, it's a reduced schedule once a month in the summertime.
Oh, that makes sense. And your meetings generally go about what, 2 hours?
Roughly, I mean, it varies, but I'd say closer to 90 minutes, but yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
okay. 189, Industrial and Development Commission.
So we've had a standing request over the past couple of years. The committee actually was dissolved, it came back again, so since it came back 3 years ago, it's been a standing request of $1,000 a year. We did reduce that down to $900. You will see expenses far below that for this year, actually for last year too. There's two reasons for that. One is that we're doing a lot of campaigning this year that involves print material, but we've managed to make use of a home printer from one of the members that is sufficient quality to cover our printing for color. And we're only going to be paying for paper and color toner. So our printing costs are about 10% of what they would be if we were to do it professionally, and it gives us the same quality material that we need. The second is that we have a project that's 2 years in the making, which is to actually, it goes back even further than that, but to do some digital marketing by creating a short video. We spent 1 year with funds taking videography, drone footage of the town, still footage of the town to use for stock material. We'd like to turn that into something that we can put in emails, put online, that sort of thing. So our plans for most of our unused money this year is to encumber it and contract with a marketing firm. We've actually been talking to several schools, as well as a private individual. And then that plus funding for next year, if we get, the $900 request, would give us sufficient funds to do that. But most of the unused money this year, the intention is for it to be encumbered.
Can I just clarify the encumbrances? So for funds to be encumbered, you would have to order, like an order would have to be placed
Yep.
before June 30th?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
And that's hopefully to bring businesses into Dayton.
Except precisely, yeah.
What is a business guideline?
It's you'll see it in the planning board and also, I believe, out in front of the town clerk's office now. It's a small trifold that we put together that is a quick start guide for starting a business in town, who you need to go to, know what you need to be aware of, what is the process. We have a second similar one that is more of a generic marketing about discover Dayton, here's what we have to offer, here's what our committee can help you with, that sort of thing. So those are the two trifolds that we're starting to circulate now. We also have a new website, www.daytonbusiness.com, that brings you directly to the town's webpage with all of our information there, links to the townwide directory of local businesses that encourage people to use for shopping local, that sort of thing. So
The town website link back to you too?
our page is on the town website. It's one of the department pages.
And on that website, is it available commercial property listed?
Oh, to list commercial property in town? That's something we would love to do, if we can figure out the right resources and get the correct buy-in from people to put their property up there as necessary. But that is definitely one of our goals. Whether it'll be something we work on this year or it'll be deferred to next year, I don't know, but it is a long-term goal, yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Maybe something, I wonder if you could work with Paul with those lean properties, to list the lean properties as potential development sites, depending on what they have for zoning. Be two birds with one stone.
Yep, Paul Reynolds. He's actually a member of our committee, so.
Yeah, get his list. Get his list of properties.
I like that. Yeah, like $1 million, right?
1.2, you said?
1.2, yeah. Any other questions on?
All right, thank you, appreciate it taking it.
You,
I'm sorry.
you changed the name of the Development Industrial Commission too, correct?
You did,
It's Economic Development?
the Dayton Economic Development Committee.
Okay.
Um,
Hopefully we can change that before town meeting, the name of this line as well.
Can you just say that one more time?
The Dayton Economic Development Committee.
Okay, thank you.
That's my only question, I appreciate it, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so now we have the zoning board, line 176.
I want to apologize, Kerry's on vacation, and Zach wasn't able to meet the meeting. I'm Greg Logan, Vice Chairman of the Planning Board. She was supposed to send me some documentation to have for this meeting. I don't have it, I just got some texts back and forth from Kerry. The base budget, we're pretty much working at the bottom minimum of our budget. We have I don't know what kind of questions you might want to ask. I don't have anything to put in front of me right now to look at. So,
You can have mine if you
that'd
like.
be awesome.
Absolutely.
I was gonna say, yeah, there's another one.
Yeah.
I just was like, I don't know who to ask.
It's five pages in.
Okay.
176 labeled as the Board of Appeals on that.
How many members on the committee?
We have right now, I believe 6, 5 that actually come all the time, pretty much. We have one that's.
One chair and 5 members?
Yes. Sorry, what page was this on?
5 of 17?
There it is, I got you.
And to be on this committee, does anybody need any,
No, this is an appointed position from the
Okay.
selectmen. Anybody can apply, anyone in the town of Dayton can apply for this position.
okay.
We appreciate the cuts.
Like I say, you can see we're working on a bare bones. We don't have much going on with that from physical years on.
And how often do you meet?
Once a month, we meet on the third Wednesday of the month.
All right, thank you.
Actually, we're doing it on Tuesdays now. I apologize because of the conflict.
Once a month.
Yeah, but once a month.
What do you guys use the professional and technical funding for?
Well, it's pretty much like hiring a lawyer to come out and take care of any kind of questions or some concerns that the board's not comfortable answering.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for zoning?
No.
Good on.
Well, the education stipend,
Yeah, I believe that is for when Kerry goes to different meetings and things of that nature that the town's asking. Some of it's been for the new accessory structures, things like that. She's been going to some of these things on the side, so.
okay, so it's generally the chair going,
Chair or the office personnel, one or the other.
okay.
Selectman Mello, do you have any questions?
No.
I don't either, thank you, I appreciate it.
Like I said, I was really nervous because I didn't have any of this.
Great job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
In general, Ralph, a question for you. The education stipends that are in the different departments,
It's all contractual.
yeah, so is that in various unions, or is that specific
It's-
unions?
Well, most of the people here are in the clerical, are in the clerical union.
So in general,
they get-
clerical?
Yeah, the ones you see, because they get special educational stipends for like,
No,
right, for CPR and.
They have
things like that.
work-related stipends and then college degree stipends.
Yeah.
That's gonna be mislabeled.
So as a
The work
chair
related.
of that committee, would that be some of?
No, so actually that line is strictly Carrie's, education and being a notary.
Okay,
So that's strict, like contractual, like we can't change that number.
So we have line 600 sewer next.
Oh, is that Woody online?
Is that, I don't see 600.
I don't see
Is there
600.
a
It's at the
different
very end.
It's at the end.
one? Oh, thank you.
They're an enterprise
Last
fund,
page.
so it's separate from general fund.
Perfect.
Is that why you're here, Woody?
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening, can you hear me?
We hear you. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry I can't be there tonight in person, I'm not feeling well, and I didn't want to bring my germs into the building.
Thank you.
Yes.
No big projects this year?
Well, we're in the process of rebuilding the pump station at the power plant with some ARPA funds. And due to some technicalities, that money went away. Ralph made a couple of phone calls. I made a couple of phone calls. It looks like we're gonna have to give the money back. Serena and Ralph know about it. So in the future, you know, and we don't know our next step from here. This has all happened in the last week and a half. We're gonna have to figure out where to go from here. We just found out about this about a week ago. And, I put in a couple of calls myself too, and nobody's calling back. It's just, you know, I don't wanna really get into it tonight about what I think about the ARPA funds. You know, it fizzled out, and the funny part about it is, we did manage to get, I think, $87,000 to pay for part of the engineering. And now all of a sudden, because the final plans weren't ready by a certain date, and the engineering company, I don't think you really need to hear all this. All I'm gonna tell you is, we need to work on this.
Okay.
So we're talking 87,000?
Well, the 87,000 is being paid, and Ralph and Serena are aware of that. You know, and it didn't come from our budget.
So actually, the amount that we're gonna
It's the
return,
government.
we have to return is approximately,
Come with the government.
322,000. So,
When do we have to return it by?
We've had a number of different town administrators, and they all did a good job, you know, working on the ARPA funds. But then Mike left, and then Jim came in, and he was a fantastic guy. And he was kind of out of the loop with all that, but he did the best he could. He was really working hard on this. And then there was, then Ralph came in, and just things went haywire with that whole ARPA funds. So, you know, we may be looking for some money, and, you know, that's
if I,
another conversation for another day.
I could just quickly, I could, you know, and we could fill you in more so. So about $309,000 were put through ARPA to be obligated to, not obligated, but to go towards the Dayton Power Plant pump station. So we had secured, we had received the $309,000, 409? I'm sorry, the 409, I have to do the math. The 409, we, for ARPA money, the money has to be, had to be obligated by 12/31/2024. We had received the contract for GHD for approximately $78,000 to do the engineering on the study. They had not, we had finally got that contract secured, I think by August. So in that time, they also had to do the engineering study and also come up with, they had to, at least a purchase order for, to do the job. We received an estimate on costs on materials and labor, but they couldn't secure a contract prior to the end of the year. And as a result, we have to return approximately $320,000. You know, we were we were doing our best to see if we could stall it, put it off, and we're looking at other options. Can we sort of grant, a Mass Works grant? Spoke to Senator Duna's office. They were asking us for earmarks. We're looking to see how we can complete that project without putting any further burden on the taxpayers of Dayton.
Thank you.
That's not money that's in, is that money that's in their retained earnings?
No, it's sitting in the ARPA fund
Okay.
grant.
From,
I'm trying to hold on to that money before it gets sent back.
So are we.
that's not what you're using as a pillow, Woody, is it?
Oh, no, Serena's sitting on it. I trust her. But as far as everything else with our budget, we are operating on a shoestring budget. We have a fantastic superintendent. His name is Harold Garcia. He has done so much for the department. And he's just like a simple man. He keeps the cost down. He's driving around in a piece of junk truck. I don't even know how. I should be embarrassed to drive a truck like that. And, you know, we have a lot, I don't know if you all understand about the different pump stations that we have and how we have to maintain them. And the one over at the Aggie School is a big problem because it was too small. The design was small, and they fought us on it because they had these great ideas how they were going to have these composting toilets and they were going to use less water. You know, and we get these high-level alarms all the time. So I don't think really, you know, that people understand what goes on in the sewer department. We have a lot of employees that work for us. They have to check the stations every single day. And Harold's right on top of everything. Whatever Harold says is gold. That's all I can say about that. And our budget really is operated on users' expense. The town's not paying any of our salaries or employees or anything that we do. It's all paid on user fees. So this coming year, I think May 26th, our office manager's going to be retiring after a long time working for the town. She's done a fantastic job. And we put a little extra money in the budget to bring her back to train whoever we're going to hire. Because we've had one office girl, we've had a number of different office girls on a part-time basis. And the last one left, took another job in the city of Taunton. And we have not filled that vacancy yet. So that's why we're leaving a little money there. We plan on hiring somebody, you know, within the next maybe 8 months or so. That depends, you know, I'm just, I can't speak for the entire board, but that's our general game plan. And, you know, it's going to be tough to fill Diane's shoes because she knows every inch of that department, where everything is. You know, she just has a personal connection to the people that work, you know, for us and the people that we service. So, I think everything's going well. You can look over our budget, but like I said, it's our budget. You know, we maintain it. We pay all the bills with all the money from our users. If anybody has any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them.
Woody, did you say that she's not retiring for 8 months, or you wouldn't find a replacement for 8 months?
Yeah, we're not sure. You know, I don't want to speak out of school on that, but I'm telling you, she's going to retire, I believe, May 26th. And Serena might know that too, because, you know, they get that pay back. I don't exactly know how their union contract is set up, but they do get some things on the end, you know.
Okay. For the new members, you guys understand the sewer is an enterprise, so whatever, yeah, it's self-sustaining, so it's not really part of the budget, but we do get some over. We get to ask Woody questions.
Yeah, we have nothing to hide, you know, and anybody's welcome to look at our stuff at any time.
And any excess they make that above and beyond paying their bills, that goes back into reinvestment in the
Yep.
system?
Yeah, yeah, stays with them to
Yeah,
lower.
and you know something, a lot of the pots that we have to buy to keep these pump stations running, there's so much electronics nowadays.
Yes.
And with the new regulations, there's more new regulations now. If we build a new pump house, believe it or not, it has to have a bathroom in it. We don't have any with bathrooms yet, but they come. That big government coming at you.
Any questions for down here for Woody?
Is it a public bathroom?
Right.
I'm pretty sure it'll be unisex.
I don't have any questions.
No, I don't
Thank you.
Thanks, Woody.
Thanks, Nate.
Thanks very much, and thank you for doing all the work that you do. I appreciate it.
Feel
Likewise.
better.
Thank you.
Alrighty, next is budget 610 library. Hi, Mark.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Very good, thanks.
Awesome.
Mark, sorry, my sheet says the next is,
Oh, I am so sorry.
That's okay.
That was nice, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Parks and Rec, I already crossed them off.
All right.
6:30.
Kevin, where's my pickleball courts?
I'll see you in a bit.
Hi, Kevin.
Thanks for just skipping over me like that.
I know, I had you crossed off and everything.
I did my best to make half a cup with my already small budget, and you skipped me.
I know. I'm ready for the pickleball courts, Kev. Let's go. Get them rocking.
Yeah, so I think you guys can see, we cut across the board. One thing, we were able to save a bunch of money from previous years with our portable restrooms. We entered into a new contract with a new, servicing company for that. We saved a bunch of money there compared to previous years. Aggregate materials were close to the same. General repairs, like you guys know, we like to, keep a little bit in there just in case something breaks and we need to fix it, on the fly. Professional and technical, we typically don't have a bunch come up out of that, but we always like to keep that little bit in there in case there is some dues or subscriptions or we need to do some sort of publication. And then, we cut down, recreational activities because we kind of decided as a committee that we're not gonna continue, at least for now, doing, the Firecracker Festival. It kind of, for lack of better terms, fizzled out on us. So we're gonna hold off on that for now. And then two, we did establish our revolving fund, which has allowed us to kind of take a different approach for some activities. I mean, we're still gonna do like what's listed there. We have Kite Day, the Easter egg hunt. So we're gonna still have activities and events that we provide free of charge for the public, but we do have other avenues if we wanna expand. We can do sponsorships and then pay to play, so to speak, activities. And then the last one, the Bridge Garden, was $750 last year, and then we cut that down to $500. And my hope is after this fiscal year, that will actually reduce that to zero, and that will be a community like donation sustained project as well. Because after this year, there's a couple little pieces that we need to buy to kind of shore up some fencing, and like we need a lawnmower to cut the grass inside because the highway department can't get in there. And then after that, it should be good.
Kevin, do you guys have any planned maintenance or any projects coming this spring that you know about?
We're going to attempt to, through the CPC and through some other potential donations, we're gonna try to revitalize what is now referred to as the Timothy Rhines Memorial Playground on Palmer and School Lane. But none of that will be done through the budget. That will be done hopefully through CPC. And then, like, as far as general maintenance, I mean, we just have our normal stuff, like where we need to infill, mulch for different playgrounds. I have the North Dayton baseball field needs to be pretty much kind of dug out and refilled with stone dust, but that's all gonna happen out of this year's budget, so I think we'll be in good shape for next year.
Okay. Any questions on any of these items?
Do you maintain the elementary school playground, or is that through the school budget?
Nope, that is through the school.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah, we just have Tricentennial, Lane Field on Main Street, the Rhines Playground, North Dayton, And then Osprey Landing, which is part of the boat ramp, but that's kind of like a little bit of a, that's just, I mean, it's mostly just grass, so that just gets mowed.
Okay, thank you. Selectman Mello?
No, I don't have any questions.
Okay.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kev.
Scared to say it, but I'm pretty sure library's up. I think I'm right, all right.
Long time no see.
Yes.
All right, so I was very conscious not to really increase any lines, but there were a couple I felt I did need to. There was 5290, a staff member who was very close to retirement. I thought it was going to happen this year. I don't want to speak, I can't predict the future. I think it's very likely it's going to happen this next fiscal year. Wanted to make sure vacation sick time was paid out. And also 5870, I did have to bump that up for replacement equipment. The laptop I ordered this past year, I was under budgeted. So I want to make sure I'm not under budgeted next year. But the rest I was very conscious to either keep the same or cut or decrease.
So you're saying you wanted to make sure you weren't under budgeted. Do you anticipate needing another laptop? Or?
Yeah, we're going, yes, that covers the one laptop. And it's, in addition to that one laptop, it's all the software on that laptop.
Okay.
Yeah, because we can't just take it, we gotta have software installed for circulation and cataloging things, so, yeah, so it's more than just the laptop. So I was under budget last year, but I won't be under budgeted next year.
For 5510,
Yes.
I know there's a formula that
Correct.
you guys are there.
Yep, we are. Actually, it's a little under, but I'm gonna use some state aid to supplement that. I would like that line to be higher, but I'm not gonna push it. I'm gonna keep it where it is.
We can get it from the state, we'll
Yep,
take it.
yep. I can use the state to supplement to meet where we need to be.
Okay.
Yep.
You anticipate being hoping to be in the library
Yes.
for the fall?
Yes, fall. I say fall with an eye towards September. And the reason I say an eye towards September is because if I say fall, it's human nature. I'm not calling humans slackers. I'm not doing that. But you say fall, it's like, well, it's still fall. But if I say with an eye towards September, like that's really going to put extra motivation to make sure it happens to be September. So I'd run through a brick wall to make it happen September. And I think we're on track to make that happen. The HVAC work, the contract's been awarded. It hasn't started yet, but it will very soon, and that's really the last piece of the puzzle that can affect the timeline either way. So hopefully, if that's on track, I have no reason to believe it won't be, but let's assume it stays on track. I think that early fall, September grand opening is very, very realistic and will happen. So
And your staffing level would be the same?
it will be the same, yes.
So the possible retirement will be replaced?
Absolutely, yes. That when that retirement happens, that will need to be replaced. Yes, that position, of course. Yeah.
I'm going to assume it doesn't look like there's any one-time charges in there between the moving.
No, that's all in a separate. That's all. This is the library operations budget. The what's going on with the new building is in a separate budget line entirely. Completely separate. Yeah. So I'm not pulling any funds from library appropriations to use for the new moving or any of the renovation work there.
Utilities we've got under the public buildings.
Correct. I had discussions with the town administrator and the town accountant to next year. Once we know what it's like in the building as far as utilities goes, I will be taking that on in the next fiscal year. That's the plan anyway.
We had put that in, that was that 15th, yeah, that was a big chunk.
Anybody else, any questions on library? No. Tracy, are you sure?
I did all
Yeah.
You still planning on doing the brick donations and stuff like that?
We actually had a meeting today and we discussed possible fundraising. The brick donation is one that came up. So I mean, we're pursuing all angles to really sort of gin up as much interest as we can,
Cool.
whether it's with fundraisers or programs or whatever. That's one thing that's been tossed around quite a bit. It's a brick fundraiser, yeah.
So you donate, and then they're in the bricks on the outside of it. You put like your name, family's name, or donation by, and then so there's a way of you're kind of part of the library.
Yeah, it's something we talked about a lot of ideas. I don't know which ones we're actually going to do, but that's one idea that we've talked about a few different times now. So we'll see what happens. But one way or another, we're getting in that building.
The Friends will be hosting their third annual golf tournament this year. The first two have resulted in presenting to the trustees $10,000 each year. So we've given $20,000 to the trustees, which Mark has done a great job at using that money for some very important things. So we're hoping this year will be the same, if not more.
I just placed an, the TV screen came in today.
Oh, did
The
you?
smart board order went through, so that's,
Oh, good.
that's, yeah, so we got some really cool stuff coming.
Yeah.
It's gonna be exciting.
Love that.
One question.
Yes.
Recreational programs.
Yep.
Are those generally free to the public?
Yes, they are always free. Per MBLC requirement, we can't offer, as a public library, we cannot offer a program that we charge for. All our programs we offer need to be free, yes.
All right.
Mark, I only have one question for
Yes.
you, and that's on the education stipend.
Yes.
So it looks like you still have last year's budget, but you're gonna budget again.
Yeah, I have, yeah, the education stipend, I have a stipend, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
It just so happened the staff member that applied to retired and was replaced with another staff member
Okay.
that will also apply to.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mark.
Thanks.
Okay, 543 Veterans Agent. Hello.
Hi. Don't see you for a long time and see you 2 nights in a row.
Spend a lot of time here. Part-time guy.
Yeah, right?
Good evening, and you have the presented budget that I feel comfortable with for FY '26. Do you have any questions?
I do have one question. 5115 under the salary for the office manager, part-time hours.
Yes.
Generally, the increases we've seen with salaries are 2.44. This is coming at 5.66 increase.
Well, what's built into there, we'll be having someone probably mid-budget leave, retire, and the retirement's in here. Then there'll be a little bit of a learning, you just said that before. So we'll have a new person coming in, but it's so technical, there's gonna have to be a training period. And I share that person with Jim Aguirre from the building department, and he has that in his budget. So we'll be able to train the person. That is the increase, the way, from what I remember it by, I think,
Yep.
am I right?
It's
Yes.
fine. Yep.
Thank you.
Okay.
This is less about veteran services as a thing. What is the line, I mean, I see it in a lot of the departments, the vacation sick time buyback.
Retirements.
Somebody's retired.
So that
Yeah,
basically doesn't include somebody's retiring,
Yeah,
so that's
it's,
what's.
it's earned time, that's,
Okay,
when they retire, you gotta write them a check.
yeah, yeah.
For gasoline and diesel fuel, you have access to the town vehicle? Is that
Yes,
what that is for?
we have our own van.
You have your own van? Oh, okay.
Right.
All right.
6 years old now? Oh, I think it's older than that, yeah. Getting up, but it's in good shape.
Is insurance in this budget for the van, or would that be out of a different budget?
I would think it's a general overlay, that's probably out of the general fund.
Okay.
How are you seeing numbers wise now? I know we talked last year about you were starting to see some increases in the number of veterans in town. Is that still increasing, or? Well, we have one new client coming on in April, which will take up part of what you see in here, probably $2,000 of it. And we did reduce this budget, as we talked about, for the last 3 years. We would gradually, if we could. And we don't feel as though we'll have any real big influx in there. You know, I hope I don't have to come back, because this is one of those departments that if they qualify, we have to pay, so you'd have to make those adjustments through transfers. But it looks good. We have one person, and I'm trying to find the most delicate way to say it, given the age, that it stays balanced through attrition. But what's coming at us in the future, we do not know from the Gulf, because now Gulf veterans are now getting to be
older and disabled, and they may need the service. So, but keep in mind, 75% of that line item gets reimbursed from the state, so, on a cherry sheet, so.
Any other questions?
Is there any questions?
No, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and thank you all for funding the veterans' budget the way you have and giving us a good department. Thank you.
for the work you do.
Thanks.
All right, 161 Town Clerk.
I got a few. Okay, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. Hello. Okay, so 161, let's see here. So salary town, so basically the salaries for myself, town clerk, and our special clerk, so it's a standard 2.5% increase. So standard. And then on the overtime, it is, I still have $600 there. This is actually going to be for, I want to have an opportunity for our assistant town clerk to be able to come to some of the training that we have, maybe on a Friday, because some of the other town clerks will have training for the new vitals coming out. So she would be involved in that as well, so that's why I kept that at $600 for overtime. And then we've got benefits and education incentive. So this is actually, we've only used 300 of this. This is for our stipend for to be a notary justice peace. I am in the process of becoming a constable. So I have, yeah, I'm excited about that. And makes life easy. So we've only used 300 of that. I'm not going to use the other 300 this time, but that's why I'm requesting the 600 for next fiscal year. So that's why we haven't used the other 300, because it's kind of halfway through.
Forgive my ignorance, what does being a constable allow you to do?
So I can post meetings around town, because what happens right now is we have to actually go to a constable and have them sign off and post. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Charges?
We are lucky enough that we have a great constable in town that does not charge us. Yeah, it's been great. But I have not used the other 300 this year. So I do have 600 total for next year.
So the clerical, their education gets paid out in June. So that's why we're still seeing money left in that line.
Okay. I still do have the $375 for Netrospect. I know I haven't used it. Knock on wood, we haven't had any problems. But that is for 3 hours of our tech support for any printers or computers that we might have issues with.
And is there a life to that, or we have to use it within a year, 2 years?
So the 375, so no, our printers we'll use until they can't be fixed anymore.
But technical support?
The technical support, if we need them that year, that's why I have the 375 kind of put aside.
Okay.
If I need them to help fix something, great. If I don't, then obviously that would go back into general fund.
Okay.
Was Netrospect, is that a specific
They're our tech support that we use. It's the company
Townwide.
vendor that we use, yeah.
townwide?
Townwide.
Yeah.
So not in the data processing?
Right, correct.
Okay. Professional technical, I have 3,000 in here. This is for conferences, legal consultant fees if anything ever comes up. Town seals, we do have to buy those. We do have 3 conferences a year. This includes the hotel, food, and incremental costs. I actually kept the 3,000 in here as well because I'm actually in process of being part of NEMC, which actually is New England Municipal Clerks Institute. And this actually goes towards my certification for town clerk.
I have 4,100 in that line item.
Yeah, I do too.
Oh, I show professional technicals for NEMC 5,300, sorry, that's what I put it under.
Yeah, 5,300 on my sheet. I have the request is for this year. Last year was $3 grand.
Yeah, so
This year the request was 4,100.
So I'm actually okay with keeping it. I thought I just kept it at the $3 grand.
Okay.
And because I still have money left over,
Okay. Yeah.
and that could go towards that because honestly, like it's a great program to be involved in. But trying to keep the budget and the costs down.
Yeah, no, we appreciate that. That's why I was just trying to clarify.
Yep, that's fine. Okay, so that was professional technical.
Sorry, can I just backtrack on
Yes,
that?
please.
Okay, so during, when the three of us had met,
Yeah,
we increased it to 4,100. So
I'm
now-
actually okay to be at 3,000.
Okay, so can you just send me an email?
I absolutely will.
Okay.
Sorry, I
No
kind of
problem.
wanted to save a little bit here and there.
We're trying to
but-
give you money.
I know, but hey,
Well,
I actually have to
that's
add.
one of the
I
few
actually
ones.
have to add a little bit of money somewhere else. Okay,
Ralph, can you let somebody in out of the waiting room?
Sure.
Thank you.
I have $650 under communications. This is for dog license, business certificates, past due notices that we send out. And these will go out May 1st. Because we wait until late fees after we do rabies clinic. Yeah.
If someone goes to the rabies clinic this coming week, or this coming up soon, in April.
It's the 12th.
April.
It's the
April
same
12th?
day as it's the same day as the election. Yeah.
Oh, all right, that's easy to remember. If they, will the is the late fee charged for them?
No, so that's why we're waiving the late fee then. We're not gonna actually charge a late fee until after the 31st of April. Then we're gonna add the late fee,
Nice.
just to kind of give it a little bit of time, to go to the clinic, come back, and, cause if they, they're not gonna pay there unless they pay check, and then come back and pay, us for the license.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I like it.
Okay. And then office supplies, I have 4,500 there.
Same.
Okay. So this is for vital record sheet protectors, storage, for the books, for permanent town records for all of our vitals, so births, deaths, marriages. So we did need extra sheet protectors because we still do have a backlog of a lot of births that are still in boxes. And we're actually going to change all of our vitals. It's going to be from like a 5x7 or whatever. All vitals are actually going to be standard paper size now. So after this, we have to start buying new vital record sheets. So basically all of our births, deaths, and marriages go into these permanent sheets, so that way it saves them from deterioration. So we do need a little bit extra for that. And like I said, we have a backlog. We have a whole box of 1920s to 1955, and we actually used up what we had for backlog for our sheet protectors. So we're going to need more, and it's just because the state is changing everything on us. So we're...
So all those old documents have to be switched
Nope,
over?
it's all
They
new.
just have to be.
It's all new, and going forward, we're gonna need new sheet protectors. We're actually going to, we just actually spent $558 on a set of 6, like, you know what I mean? So they're very expensive for packages of 50. So.
Is the state selling these?
I know, it's crazy, and it's great, they're changing everything on us, like all vitals are changing. So they're starting with death certificates first, so they're gonna all be paper size instead of a
I ask
little 5x7.
a dumb question.
Yeah, fine.
Why are we still using paper? Why, and I know
Well,
it's not a
because
statement,
they're
it's a
permanent
statement.
records. God forbid something ever happens to computer, whatever. They are permanent records that stay in our vault forever. They're forever records.
Does elections, is that paper, or you guys?
Well, you would do your annual town, you do a permanent records for elections too,
In paper.
on paper, your certified election results, yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
And I'm sure all the results are backed up on a hard drive or whatever from the computers, the iPads now.
We have, yes, we have them obviously backed up and things like that, but things can go wrong. We do have databases, we have Excel databases with all of our permanent records. However, we have to have them hard copy, put away for, you know, forever. And those go in our vault. Yeah.
Or somebody could hack the,
Yes.
You never know. I mean, it's obviously, we've seen it. Okay. Where was I? Sorry.
That was the 4,500.
dog tags?
Thank you. I was gonna get in here. Dog tags. Okay. So we have for line item 5580, the dog tags. So this is actually for the dog tags, the carbon paper license, and the paper that goes out into the census. So
I guess then in 5,300, professional and technical, what's that dog license?
So 5,300. Sorry.
Oh, 5,340.
Yeah, 5340.
5340 communication. So this is actually past due notices. That's past due notices that we end up sending out. So that is postage only. And that is obviously for the dog license, business certificates, and, you know.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. So this, we are expecting a slight increase for FY26, but I stayed at the 1,950 because we still had a little bit, you know, I didn't use all of it this time, but I do expect an increase because we do get a slight increase every year, so I kept it the same.
What's the revenue on the dog licensing in the town? Do you have any idea?
What is it? I'm sorry?
Do you know what the revenue total is on that?
I don't know the complete total, but every dog, it depends. It's $5.
I don't know, because I have to report to you every month on that for my clinic.
Yes, and now with the Ollie's Law, correct, yes.
Right, so do we have any idea what kind of revenue that generates in a town?
I can look it up.
Thank you. I can find out too.
The
Sorry.
dog license revenue?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, I know it's like, what is it, $10 if they're spayed or neutered, and then 25 if they're not, is that correct?
And then you got kennel license fees, you got all kinds of, so there are different fees, whether they're spayed or neutered, or whether, you know.
Yeah, okay.
Well, hopefully it's covering all the charges we've got.
Well, that's my exact thought, Sue. It's, if you're mailing out a past due fee, you know.
For $5.
Is that gonna take away from what we're?
Technically, I will tell you, last time we did send past due notices, I was very surprised, and I can get that for you guys and email it, but we ended up getting, I want to say it was over $800 just by sending out those. And I know it was almost $800, so I can definitely get that to you guys, because I was excited about that.
What's the penalty on the past due?
So it is $10.
So it's an extra $10.
It's an extra $10, correct. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, travel. So this is for mileage. This is for mileage going back and forth to all of the conferences, as well as post office. I go to the post office every single day, and it's kind of straightforward. You know, mileage going back and forth for me, the assistant town clerk, you know, and the clerk that works for us for 10 hours. We'll go to different conferences. So that's just for travel.
So
And
are
I
you
did.
anticipating more then? Is that why the increase is there?
So the increase, I wanted to kind of put, yes. So, and I wanted to put down, so it was, when we first started doing this, when I started, it was 64 cents a mile. It went to 67. Now it's at 70. So it keeps going up, and so that's
Okay.
Okay, and this is where I kind of want to increase. I'm so sorry, Serena. I was going through it right before I got here.
Okay.
So dues and subscriptions, I had 300 in here. We did spend 425.
Yeah, we have a budgeted at
We have
425.
425.
Oh, good, okay, I just wanted to make sure, cause in my end, when the last one I sent it said 300, I was like,
We
no,
did that
I
at the
need
meeting.
425.
Yep.
Okay, great, thank you guys. So we didn't have to ask for more. Oh, good. Okay. 162? You wanna go to 162?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, this is for elections. Cover that up because I don't need that anymore. Okay, so elections, 162. Okay, so line item, this is for 5120. This is for our salary election workers. I am requesting 700. We actually only have one election. We have the local town.
7,000, right?
Huh?
7,000?
7,000. Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say, what a deal.
Yeah, 700.
I'm sorry, I meant that. Sorry. Can you imagine? Hey guys, you're only making $700. $100 a piece. No, so that's 7,000, and that is, we do get paid back some of that, you know, depending on what election and things like that. Sometimes we'll get paid back for the election workers.
From the state?
From the state. But usually that's with state elections. Mark, you know this. With local, because this will be my first time just doing local, I still can get paid back a certain percentage for the election workers.
You'll get paid back,
I don't know what percentage.
okay, so the 3-hour law was when elections opened at 7. So
Yes.
the town elections 9 to 5. What's the?
It's 7:30 to 5.
7:35. So you won't get the first 3 hours
Correct.
on that because that's a bylaw. So
Yeah.
that you won't get, but you'll get reimbursed for any unfunded mandates. So any work you do towards vote by mail.
Correct. Yep.
Or early voting if you host any early voting.
Okay, that's what I figured.
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure that I had that like 100%. So technically they would do, because we are gonna do, we're actually, I'll tell you after, but we're gonna be doing sending out vote by mail with, in our census. So any kind of pre-election tabulation, because it has something to do with the election. But that $7,000 would be enough to, for the day of the election, as well as anything else that we might need for training, because we're going to offer training. We are going to do a closing training to be prepared better for our primary and the elections coming up in the future.
How
For
many
FY
election
27.
workers do you generally have?
So right now we typically have about 13 that we've used, but we've gotten a few more. And what's happening is now I'm going to start doing half days for certain people. Full days, obviously, we'll have specific closers because
So they get paid by the hour?
they get paid by the hour. Some of them are 15, some of them are 16.
The iPads from last year, were you able to use those just for state or? could-
Oh, I use them for everything. I love those. Like, love them. So I use them for town meetings, at all elections, pre-tabulation, everything we've used them for. They are amazing. Best investment. And they're wonderful. I will tell you, working with them have been absolutely wonderful. They've been great with me.
Excellent.
Yeah, yep. Okay, so let's see, my salary clerical, I'm asking for this. This is for any state mandated hours, like Fridays that we might have to be, before a certain election, that we have to be open on Fridays till 5 or any other reason. So I have that in there. That hasn't changed from last year. So same as above, like any pre-tabulation due to vote by mail, testing, things like that. That's specifically for the two clerks, the assistant town clerk as well as the clerk that works for me for 10 hours. And anything that we don't use, like, you know, because this is just for state mandated things that we might have to be, you know, places. Anything we don't use obviously would go back in.
Right. One question?
Yeah, of course.
School rental. Do we pay a fee?
I crossed that out. The reason why is because we haven't had to. So at one point, I was talking to the guy that helps us set up for the elections and things like that, and he was mentioning it, but I never have gotten a fee. So I'm actually I crossed that out on my end for school rental because we haven't had to pay anybody. We've been very lucky. So the 7,000, that's for the tabulator program, the ballots. So we go through a vendor called ES&S, and they program all of our equipment and send our ballots for local elections. I also built in an increase here. This is why I'm doing this, because I feel like this is more of, I consider it more of an operation budget. I'm actually wanting to buy 3 more poll pads with the printers. The reason why is because that way I'll have 2 per precinct. It'll make things a lot more seamless and faster for the residents. So this is actually the time to do it because I'm still under budget. Like, you know what I mean? I still stayed under my budget for elections. I was lucky enough because I only have 1. So I am actually requesting to do that. And also because with our current fiscal and financial state, it's unlikely we'll be asking for, you know, the capital funding. But I really do truly think this is more of an operational thing. I think it's going to be much better for our residents. And I'm excited to have them. And I think that 2 per precinct is plenty. And because right now we have the 1. And like I said, we use them for everything. So it'll help us going forward, especially like within this fiscal year of 26, it'll help us going forward because we will have other elections coming right after that. Like basically we'll have the other 2 state elections.
So we have 3 precincts?
We have 3 precincts. Currently we only have 1 per precinct.
Correct. And how much are they?
So they're about $1,700 a piece and that includes the poll pad, the printer, because you have to have the printer with the poll pad, and it includes the software, and that software will be good for any kind of questions or whatever. For the software is good for a year, and then I haven't had any incremental costs yet from the poll pads. But originally they said it was a year, but I also don't use the cloud, so it's cheaper.
Okay. So we're coming up on 1 year with the pads we have. So have you had to update the program?
I update the program, no cost.
July 1, that's something.
Yeah.
Right on.
I bet you right on like the
July
dot.
1st.
Oh, you already got them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you used a lot of them. And you know, and the reason why I would like to have 2 per precinct too is because it really is more of a seamless transition, especially like we noticed there were so many people like waiting in line, and it would have been so much faster if we just had the 2.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I really believe that this is better for, like, it should be in my operating budget instead of having to go in front of capital.
Is the population evenly divided between the 3 precincts?
No, it's pretty average, but precinct 1 is a little bit more than precinct 3.
They're close though?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just curious.
What's the percentage of our residents that show up for town meeting?
So we have 6,300.
Yes.
Okay, about a little over 6,300. For town meeting, we had a little over, I want to say 1,000 at most. That's
Town meeting or town election?
town election, sorry. Town election. Town meeting, it's about 125.
Correct.
So we'd be lucky to get more than that. I would hope so. But, yeah.
Is it
So, yeah,
1,000 normal for town?
election, it depends
If it's-
on if it's, for town election, it depends on if it's, contentious, if like, anybody's running against who and things like that, it all depends.
And I'm gonna ask one more question. Now that we've got early voting,
Mhm.
mail-in voting, how many people are voting day of?
Yeah, it all depends. Local, we did about 40, I want to say last local, we did about 47%, 46% about.
So half are still coming in person.
But, we are offering vote by mail again this year, so it's going to be interesting to see how it works. Because we did have a huge election, of course, last year. So we piggybacked off of the vote by mail cards, and so we ended up getting, about a little under 400, 320 something. Yeah, I love these. I think that, and honestly, just having 3 more, it just gives us 2 per precinct. I think they're great for our residents. It's a lot faster.
I have no doubt.
Yeah, and it was nice.
It's very tight.
I know. So that would be why I'm asking for that, just there. Off-duty police officers, we're only going to be using the 2 officers. For need of our budget, I still believe that, we have plenty of safety and, everything like that with, just having the 2 there. And that's pretty much what we kind of spent last time for just 2.
Shara, do you know of any other communities that use 2 poll pads per precinct?
So I know that, when I talked to Laura, she was saying that she uses like a ton of them.
Per precinct?
When we were doing pre-tabulation, it seemed like it was 2 per precinct, but I could be wrong and I can check on that.
Okay.
I will definitely check on that.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Okay, let's see here. So communications, this is 6,500. This is for our census, the confirmation mailing. This is for printing and programming. This does not include postage. This is an anticipated increase. So my projected increase. Line 5420, office supplies. We're requesting 650. This is for, we need new storage bins. Ours are falling apart. And this is specific to putting the ballots in the storage bins and, for the police officers to handle. And we are in dire need of those. This is for our permanent seals. So when we have to, once our ballots are counted, we seal them up, and those are permanent seals until we are able to get rid of them. This is also for pens, ink, and state computer, and voted stickers. We are completely out. We used every one of them last election. And then the vote by mail. I actually decreased it from what you guys see there. I decreased it to 4,500 because I have a great idea. I'm going to add one to the census. So I'm going to actually have it actually included in the census that we sent out. It saves us money. We still, so we'll save actually a lot of money doing it that way. And then, incremental cost to the vote by mail. So that would be any post-tabulation depending on if we can do it beforehand. We do that with the poll pads as well. Or we would do that there and just have it at the election and have certain election workers open up the vote by mail and do that. They'd be working half days.
Do you find that you get a lot of the census crowd?
We do, but then we send out a confirmation mailing stating that you need to let us know if you still live here.
Yeah.
so then we end up randomly getting quite a few more back. So, yeah. We still get about, I want to say a week, we're still getting about, I want to say now, like 30 or 40. So they're still coming in. I'm like, great. So, trust me, that's all fun and games until you have to file it. And then you do it all day, yeah. Okay. Any other questions on 162?
Good job, thank you. Nope.
I have 163 now. Okay, so this is the 5105. That's the salary for the registrars. That's $600. That hasn't gone up. This is an actual cost for the stipend for the registrars. 5300, the street listing. I have 1500. This one is for the annual street listing books that we have printed. This is for the preparation and the printing. The expected increase, it was a little bit, more than what we had. So I have about 1500 that I need. And then the postage. So this postage is like our biggest expense for this. This includes the census that they charge us for postage that we send out, the confirmation mailing that they'll charge our vendor that we go through, and then our automatic voter, anything that we're sending with vitals, births, marriages, deaths, things like that. So that's my total cost. And I'm still waiting for my monthly postage that I haven't received. I'm just waiting. I feel like that's it. And I know, Serena, you had one more, right? Like the town meeting, the 113, just for those two?
We did that.
You did?
Yes.
Oh, good. That's one thing off my plate. Okay.
One more for you.
Any questions?
I just want to make sure I understand.
Yeah.
Registration would be births, deaths, marriages.
Vitals is births, deaths, marriages, yeah.
Elections, obviously, would be elections.
Mhm.
And then more of the records from town clerk would be more of the dog licenses, that type of.
The vital records?
I'm between the three, I'm trying to get
okay.
the differences between the three.
Okay. All right. Let me just go here.
And the main reason is because I see census for 6,502, and that's why I'm trying to wrap my head around.
So the census, you mean for postage?
I guess communication
Okay.
5340 and 162 and 163.
Okay. So let's see, 160. So over here. So the census. So the communications is 6,500. That is just for the census confirmation mailing. That's just for the printing and programming.
Okay.
So we go through a company, and that vendor we go through, they charge you per like what you're going to put in with the census. So we put in like an application for the dog license. We put in an application for, just to fill out. That's just an application.
So really, elections 5340 is the vendor for the cost of the.
Yes, that's just for the census confirmation mailing. We put that under the communications for elections, correct? Because that actually, if you don't send back your census and you don't send back the confirmation mailing, you go inactive. And after 2 state elections, like presidential, then you end up, you can just get removed. We just actually removed a whole lot of them. And then they call and they say, hey, why did you remove me? Well, because you didn't fill out your census. You didn't vote, you didn't fill out your confirmation, well, that would be why. And then, yeah.
So then 163 is really the stamps for the,
Yeah, that's postage for everything. That's the postage, so we'll charge that line item for, any postage that comes through. We'll charge that line item.
but Paul hasn't gotten you his most recent.
No, Mr. Paul, I have to, that's next week's, agenda with Paul.
Any other questions on?
No.
Okay. Hopefully I wasn't confusing.
Thank you.
Of course. Thank you guys. Thank you for being here so late. Jeez.
It's a good time.
I'm sure.
Scintillating.
Definitely. Alrighty, Historical Commission, 691.
You skipping 189, or we already do that?
We already did that.
That's right.
You did. You're trying to give me a heart attack.
I
I don't want to do
mean,
it twice.
You know. You did it again.
I know. There's Peter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I came earlier.
He had another one. No special treatment.
Oh.
I tried to take him later.
Yeah, it was a surprise. Surprise.
I'm so glad I don't do that. So mine's very simple compared to Shara's. Basically, we reduced our budget. We were at $1,400 for this fiscal year, so FY26 we're asking for $1,100. And so we went through it. Our biggest change was probably in professional and technical, 5300. And we calculated for 2 to 3 members to attend a possible conference or consulting fees. In the past couple of years, we've had some technical fees associated with our surveys, such as the GIS mapping expenses. And we don't have that planned for FY26, so that takes care of a big chunk of that. We also found that our commission members have become fairly stable, so there are those that go to conferences, those that care not to, some who figured out they've learned enough on their own. So we're only planning for maybe 2 to 3 people to go, depending on where they are and what the content is. So that's the big change there. Communications is for postage, just given the cost of stamps. Other supplies would be printing any historical brochures and office supplies that we may need. In the past, we've also put historical markers in here. Presently, we're having trouble finding an appropriate vendor for that to make the markers, so that program's kind of on hold. We did build that in our past budgets, so that's, you'll see it like in FY25. I don't even know if we're gonna get there because we're still looking for an appropriate vendor. Of course, travel went up a little bit, so that would be for if we go to a conference or anything.
Great. Any questions?
So there is a difference. I just want to speak to FY25 a little bit because I know you always look at the percentage that we've spent so far. So our percentage is low, but we do have expenses coming up because we do have a survey out there. I have an estimate from the GIS map maker that'll cost between $350 and $550. And as part of that survey too, we have some printing costs that are coming up. And there's a conference in June that some people may attend. So that's why our percentage is not up there. Because Serena always says it, I'm like, oh, we're really low.
How closely does the Historical Commission work with the town historian?
We consult with each other. The town historian is not really connected with the commission. She's her own separate entity.
Okay, that's what I was getting at. I didn't know if it could be one budget item. So based on what you just said, it makes sense to keep them separate?
At this time, I would say yes.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. Any other questions? Okay, thank you, Kat.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Town historian, I'm sure that's simple, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no one's to say there.
What is the 250 there?
She gave us a call and she said it was 250 and that was pretty much it. So,
It's been that for a while, I think,
I
as
think it
long
was
as
at
I know.
500. You
Oh,
had
really?
reduced it to
Yeah.
250 a year or so ago, and
Oh, okay.
Was it used this year, or is it just like an end of the year?
I don't think it has been used.
No, it's, have they used anything? It shows that they've used
They
nothing.
haven't used anything.
They used
They
the,
still have a
Through
budget
December,
Yeah.
yeah.
from last year.
they still have a budget from last year.
690.
I bet she takes it with
What?
me.
690.
That's what I would
Six.
assume.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably just an end of the
Nothing
year
has
thing.
been spent
Nothing has been spent to date.
through February.
I would assume it's probably just an end of the year thing with her.
I think it was previous years.
Yeah.
Okay.
They may do some, she may participate in some archiving as the town historian. It's not a huge,
Okay.
nothing huge.
The one we've been waiting for?
All right, Agricultural Commission, 179.
Oh. Not the one.
I was like, that's the one. No offense to the agricultural, but I didn't know such a big
I
deal.
thought we were moving on to Serena.
Good evening. Ken Arujo, I'm the chairman of the Ag Commission. We just completely reorganized as of last Tuesday night. And as far as, I believe last year we asked for 500. This year, with the budget asking for 10%, we could live with that. What we've been doing is we've been outsourcing and looking for free help, which we're getting some assistance from Serpent. We're also getting some assistance from MDAR, Massachusetts Department of Agricultural Resources, to try to give the Board of Health and some of the other people, departments in town, some more guidance. So we've been having some issues, and which you probably all have been aware about, to try to give, the department heads in the town, whether it be, zoning, Board of Health, conservation, whatever, to give them some more guidance. And we've been seeking some free help. So with the money we're asking for is, in case we have to do any mailings.
I don't have any requests.
Because they didn't.
Yeah, I'm giving it in person tonight.
Okay.
Because somehow or other I trashed an email that was supposed to be sent out 2 weeks ago. So
Okay, so what's the total amount that the request is then?
$450.
And can I just ask, was that officially voted at the
Yes.
meeting? Okay, 450. Thank you.
And are we correct that you didn't have a budget last year?
No, we did have a budget, but we never used it.
Thought it got moved to.
There was an issue with two of the board members on the commission that couldn't
Was
get
it
along
another
and what
person,
have you,
right?
so
Is that what-
that's been resolved.
Or did he just pull it?
In FY '24, they had a $1,500 budget. FY '25 was no budget.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So I don't have a voted budget for it.
I think they were
Now, the reason why it was so high in 2024 is because of the community garden.
Right.
Yeah, right.
So it was a lot of expense then, and now Parks and Recreation have taken that project over, so that would be on their budget versus ours.
Okay. So the 450 is just for communications?
Just for communications.
Okay. All right.
And what was that gonna be used for again?
We're working with, like I said, we've got 3 projects in the works right now, and it's in case if we have to do mailings. And, it's rather than we get something, we can make recommendations to help the Board of Health and/or Animal Control and/or Conservation.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Good night.
Now,
Now,
what
count
Peter's
down.
doing.
1, 3, 5.
My turn? All right. Hello. I just have a couple of updates from Tuesday night's meeting. Can I do that first, please?
Yeah.
So I looked at the snow and ice deficit as of this Thursday, and it's actually negative $126,000.
Sorry, what was that deficit?
$126,000.
Not
Is it
90.
deficit in
Not
what
90.
account?
Snow and ice.
Okay.
And then another thing that I was asked to look into was the ADA salary. So I did have it overstated on documents, so I do have a new number. And that will, after we go through all of the budget meetings, I was gonna send out new sheets with all of the changes. But if you wanted to note it now, the new number is $3,215.45. The other update was in the highway budget, the 422, the office manager. In comparison to this fiscal year in '26, so actually in fiscal year '25, the salary is overstated because we calculated her at 40 hours a week instead of at 35 hours a week. So the number that's there for FY '26 is accurate at 51,000.
Okay, it's a 2.44 raise.
Yes.
Okay. So 35 to 40 hours.
Which
And
one is that, Serena?
Department 422,
Yeah,
the office manager. So you have to look at the office, I think it's 40 and change,
Yep.
and then go to Department 432 and add in the 8,000.
Okay.
So those two together is her 51,000.
That's right, 'cause she's split between the two.
They do split up some of her salary, yes. Along with Tom's salary and the workers. Yep.
Yeah, okay.
And then just another side note, next Tuesday, I'm not gonna be able to attend the meetings, but if any questions come up, if anybody just wants to email me, and then I can follow up when I am back.
Good luck.
If you want me to, Serena, I'll keep notes, and then if there's changes or issues or anything, I'll email them all at one time.
Yeah, perfect, that would be great too, I didn't think about that, changes along the way, I was gonna look at the video after and catch up on those. Thank you. Okay, so my budget is pretty straightforward, the salaries are contractual. I have the overtime at 650. We've used about halfway through. That's for my assistant. It's usually when there's like a Monday holiday and we need to just do everything in 2 days instead of 3 days. She works a couple of extra hours. So it's considered overtime even though it's still below the 40 hours. But within the clerical, it's, above her normal 31 hours a week. So I just have a little extra funds there. And then the education stipends is all contractual. Professional and technical, I was able to lower a little bit. The audit is lower. This is actually a new contract amount, and it's lower because speaking with the auditors last week, the single audit is an additional $5,000 when we have to do a single audit, federal audit, but that limit is being raised to $1 million. So we're not projecting to spend $1 million out of any of our federal grants, so we won't need the single audit, so that's why it's lower. I kept office supplies the same. Professional and the development, that's was really where I could cut some money besides the audit. I cut that in half. My assistant's catching on pretty well, and I'm able to just kind of train her on the job. She doesn't feel the need to go away for the training at Amherst. Dues and subscriptions is pretty standard, her and I. And then I did not have anything for additional equipment this fiscal year, but I did add in $500. We have a small little HP printer that we print our vendor checks on every week, and it's starting to get a little funny. So if I need to replace it or I need to fix it, that's where we print the checks every week. If it goes down, I'd probably have to print the checks after hours on the copy machine to make sure nobody prints on my checks. So I'm hoping to just keep that little one in our office so the printing doesn't get messed up.
Do you guys get regulated for having to use specific ink? Because I know there's, especially for fraud, things like that, I didn't know as a government, you had to use specific.
I'd have to look into that. I haven't bought a toner in a long time,
Okay.
but right with the scanning of the checks.
Because it'll tell if you make a copy of it. It's fraud-proof, so.
I'll definitely look into that.
Line 5157, the education line, 1350. Does someone in your office plan on taking courses, or are you just putting
Nope.
it there because it's a
So-
contractual amount?
Yeah, so in everybody's budget, it's
It's there.
it's contractual. So my contract, I get money for my bachelor's degree.
No, I realize that, that's not the question I'm asking, I know that's in your contract, but we are budgeting that amount.
Yes.
So is the intention that somebody in your office is gonna use that?
So it's not to be used. She gets the stipend for having the education.
Oh.
So everybody's. I know that was a little confusion with everybody
So this is above and
speaking.
beyond the salary,
Correct.
and you'll get it every year?
Correct.
Why don't we just include that in the salary? Why are these are like hidden numbers, I mean, well, they're not hidden because they're right there, but, I mean, that would make much more sense, because, yeah, your job and your qualifications, this is your salary.
But if you put in the salary, wouldn't that
Then it gets
number would go
increased
up?
every
and
year
it's-
with the COLAs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that wouldn't make sense, then she would,
Right, because then the full dollar amount would be subject to the contractual percentage
I
increase.
guess, yeah.
And it shows the towns acknowledging their additional education too, you know?
Because we've
instead of
already
just
paid
going-
for it.
Right, where,
I mean, that seems like kind of crazy, we pay for the education, and then we
well,
pay
I don't
them
know how
every
much
year
the
for having the
town
degree.
actually pays for the employee's education. Like, degrees cost $1,000s, what do we cover, like, maybe,
So that's under the Department 920, the tuition. You know, each contract's a little different. I don't know like what the clerical reimbursement amount is for classes, but that would fall under that department. When somebody's actively taking a class and gets above a certain grade, then we reimburse whatever portion.
okay,
Is
but
in the
not the whole,
contract.
you don't reimburse the
Right,
entire
yeah.
thing, okay.
Get that, it's
Must be a cap.
3,000 a person?
I know that, I think
1,500 a
that's,
class?
I think the 3,000 is the fire department specifically. I'm not sure clerical and the other contracts.
I took advantage of education, and I remember in the policy that they had to go through the selectmen, they had to approve it. I remember
Oh,
going.
yeah, we did do
Yes.
something
But
about
I've
that.
never seen anyone go through since I went through.
No, I
A few
haven't.
years ago now, so I'm not sure, be worth looking into, because, yes, but I think it was 1,500, that's what I remember. Yeah, because I know I would go over when I took the classes, so you'd pay the difference.
Yeah.
Dropping the bucket.
Yeah,
And I separated out maybe last year or the year before to have that 5157, just to make budgeting easier when we go to do the COLA. I know that nobody's education is in their salary line, so I can take just their salary line and not have to subtract things out and then go forward again. So I think in years past it was all just mixed into the salary line, and then I started separating it.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions?
Just because I'm thinking of, we've talking about Tuesday, did the assistant, Jonathan's assistant, did we figure, is that included in your professional and technical?
We're going to,
Look at it?
yeah, we're gonna move it. It's not, currently, it's not included. It's as a separate amount, but I think we're gonna, for clarity, we're gonna move it to the, under my budget, under TA's budget.
So I'd have to look back at my notes from last year to see if, in the end, we put Justina's money into the P&T under the admin budget. I didn't have a chance to fully dive into that. Your notes said that we did?
That's what
Yeah.
that was why. So I looked back at my notes last year because I was confused by the time we got done with that call. In the town administrator's professional and technical, it had gone up last year by 600. And my notes were that we moved Jonathan's 1,500 for the assistant to town administrator. And
I want to cover that.
so it wasn't that it got removed and somehow it was that we moved it over to town administrator like we moved the ADA stipend.
Yeah, so to clarify that in 26, I'm gonna have a separate line that says ADA,
P&T.
auxiliary aids, and then ADA, he had something else like other supplies or something.
Yeah.
So like his 3 lines will now say ADA under the town admin's budget, so it doesn't get
Cool.
mixed and construed. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, 698 cable.
Good evening, everyone. All right, so we'll start right at the top. So the reason for the increase in the salary part-time line is mainly to maintain competitiveness with surrounding towns. We've had multiple people apply, submit their application, be interviewed by the committee for recommendation to the Board of Selectmen, and that's kind of where it's ended. We're only a 3-member committee with the ability to expand to a 5-person committee, and to be perfectly honest, we need more people. With the expanding equipment and the expanding, I don't want to say needs of the town, but wants of the town, based on what people have approached us and asked us for, and the skills that are required for that, we need more talent, and we haven't gotten it. Spoke to other towns, specifically Rehoboth. Rehoboth's a little different from us, not only in population size, but they have a full-time employee who makes $60,000 a year. And they also pay their videographers $25 an hour with a 3-hour stipend. I'm sorry, not a 3-hour stipend, but a 3-hour minimum. So it would be $75 per shoot. We don't have any minimums because we get paid hourly. Berkeley, it was difficult to compare to Berkeley because Berkeley's cable committee is run through their town IT. So his salary is more so the town IT salary than the way that we run it. Seacock, there wasn't really much comparison as far as what they put on for programming, and they also don't have a studio space. Same thing with Somerset. And then once you start getting into your Tauntons and Attleboroughs, you're getting a lot bigger than what we have here. So I didn't want to go too far with that. So any questions about that?
On the labor, no.
Okay.
You get reimbursed through Comcast though, or for?
Yes, so all of the money that we use
The entire budget line it comes from.
Right.
comes from our PEG Access Fund, which the contract that we have right now is really good. I know some people have been concerned about, losing customers to streaming and things like that. I guess my counter to that would be we're having more housing developments come in, so that's going to offset it. The percentage decrease hasn't been drastic, and people are always going to want to watch sports and watch cable news. So we always have that going for us.
Yeah, well, now all the streaming services cost the same as cable, so you
Yeah.
might as well have cable.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly.
Cut the cord, but also have 30 other cords.
So we've been fortunate enough that the salary, not only the salary line, but our entire budget is well below what our PEG Access brings every year. I believe it's somewhere in the neighborhood of $140,000. So that covers not only our budgets, but things like last year when we had a couple warrants, well, one warrant fiscal year 25, one more fiscal year 24 for the studio and the new server, that can be easily accommodated.
What is the PEG access, sorry.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, what is just out of curiosity, what's the PEG access balance right now?
Right now, I don't know off the top of my head. I know that it is in between the 300,000 and 400,000. The way that it's calculated is odd because the money gets put back if we don't use it. So right now it's the entire warrant line, the entire salary line is taken out of it. But as you guys can see, we haven't used all of our money, and that gets put back in plus deposits. So it's difficult to say exactly how much is in right now.
So last year you guys needed the server, you needed some other equipment.
Yes.
I'm assuming you got all that.
We did, yep.
And so what do you need now?
As far as equipment goes?
Is there, I know we had the conversation last year that it's Comcast's money, let's use it. if you need something, you guys should ask.
Yeah, you want a van? What do you want?
As generous as that is, and this is another reason why we need more talent, is we're running into limitations where you guys are paying me in some instances to learn how to use some of this stuff. Where we do have the cable cast, which is this program that we use for the server. I'm on the phone, I'm emailing them like, what do we do with this? We have had people come up to us and say, hey, I've seen a Rehoboth, they have their entire catalog online. Why am I going to YouTube? Because they can on demand see the channel online, do everything one-stop shop. And I've said, hold on, because I know we have the same exact server as Rehoboth. There is a way to do that. I need to figure out how to do that. So as far as additional equipment, I don't want to go crazy. This room could use upgrading, but that would be more, a lot of the things that we buy, that's not so much a budget thing as a warrant, because they're one times, and then if it needs to be replaced, we replace it with a warrant, so.
Go crazy, man. I mean,
So did you say if you don't use all the money that Comcast is?
So all the money gets put in the PEG account, and then whatever we use, it doesn't go into like the general fund or anything like that. It goes back into the PEG account.
So the budget from 25, the 48,000, if they don't spend the 48, it goes back into the
Comcast?
PEG general account.
No, we don't like give it back to Comcast. No.
Okay.
Comcast pays us to be the sole TV provider in town.
Okay, so you can save up until if, say you needed a big item or whatever.
Absolutely.
You can save up multi-year.
If they didn't spend $5,000 this year, it goes back in, but they can request it to come back out.
and so, you know, you look at a balance between 300 and 400-ish, right? You're budgeting this year at 58 as a request.
Mhm.
You're expecting Comcast to pay 140. That difference also goes in PEG access?
Yeah. So are you talking about the 90-ish thousand? Yeah. That goes right in, and we never see it. I guess it just
Right, but you can draw on that fund, like if you needed something crazy.
Yeah, if the studio burnt down or
Right.
something, I guess. What I'm saying is as a yeah.
Actually, we have separate problems if your studio burns down.
So it's
We're gonna need more money.
It's funny enough and tragic enough, but Rehoboth actually used some of their PEG access funds when their COA burnt down. The cable office and the COA kind of shuffled things.
That's clever.
But
So,
please don't take my money.
Well, then I've got a question.
Sure.
You said it's hard hiring other people because of funding.
Well, starting salary. So
Okay, so if you've got the money available,
Go get it, man.
why can't you, why isn't everybody getting a little raise?
sorry.
If the money is available in
Right.
this Comcast account.
Yeah.
And you're having trouble hiring new people because you aren't paying well enough,
Mm-hmm.
why don't you,
With
ramp
this-
up the pay raise?
With this increase, that's what you figured.
Right. So the committee recently voted to increase the starting rate to 25 an hour and the veteran rate to 30 an hour. So that is accounting
So
for
that is an increase.
yes.
That's the 15,500 increase from last year.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
And you think that should do it?
We hope so. We have somebody who just applied, but a little background on the last person who didn't come in. He stated that he was making $40 an hour, which, to be perfectly honest, I don't believe. But he might have some good people in his corner, saying, just try to go high. So,
Right.
but
Any questions on cable?
there is something else that I would like to request an increase on. Actually, I believe it would go under dues and subscriptions. I'm requesting another $240 in addition to that. With it's called the VOD, Video on Demand. We need to pay for a domain to house that, because as of right now, it's just our IP address, and that's not very safe. Luckily, no one knows that right now, but
They're listening.
No, I mean, no one knows what our IP is.
Are they those two? Are they? Are they actually? Paul's listening. Paul's listening.
So it would be $20 a month, $240 in addition
that's
to
comes out to
the
$920?
$680.
So that'd be $920?
$920,
For doing
$240 on
Yes.
top of the $680.
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know if it's $240
I
or
heard
$250.
$250.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
No, thank you.
Does Serena need an email on that?
I know, I was gonna say, email Serena.
Yeah.
She does.
Definitely will. Other than that, something else that I wanted to bring to your attention on the 100% reduction to equipment's repairs and maintenance. I know that last fiscal year we came to you guys and requested that stay at $10,000 for the server was getting old and things like that. Obviously, we have a new server now, so I thought it would be necessary to take that down a notch 100%. And thankfully, still, our engineer is very helpful, and a lot of the times he is available and does not charge us, which is very nice because he's an engineer who makes a lot of money.
So did you say the 10,000, you're keeping it?
We're reducing it down to 5, yeah. Because with the new server and a lot of the new equipment purchased in the warrant article, we don't imagine us having to repair or maintain it so much.
Okay,
All right.
thank you.
Thank you.
Look at us go.
Before we adjourn, I just kind of wanted to feel the finance committee out. Doug White at the last meeting, he kind of mentioned pooling some of the lines like equipment repair and maintenance, and he mentioned office supplies. I didn't know how you guys felt about maybe exploring. I thought if we did it on a, like maybe this fiscal year, equipment repairs and maintenance, to see if the town could find any savings in that, like going through perhaps one line. Would you guys have any interest in exploring that?
So I think, to me, and just from my standpoint, I was thinking, like IT, I thought we kind of were with the data processing and that was all kind of grouped, but you get down to like office supplies and, I don't know, I could almost see people pointing fingers and saying, well, they're using all the paper that they want, why can't I get an extra?
I agree with you on office supplies, 100%. I just think equipment repairs and maintenance might be one where, I don't know, it might be nice to have it vetted through.
And it should
somewhere.
probably, I mean, you probably want to use the same vendor, right? So that
Yes.
you've got the same people looking at the same problem.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah, what does the procurement look like for these things right now? Is it all divided up, like each individual department's going out and finding a vendor?
I think a lot of people just have their own
They got a guy.
printers, and I think still most of it goes to Netrospec, but they can kind of decide if they want to just replace it or have Netrospec come in. It might be nice just having everything go through. And you have more resources too if you had like one bigger line just with what's available, maybe.
Before I forget, Paul was raising his hand. I don't know if he wanted.
Oh, sure.
Hey, good evening, everybody. Are you able to hear me?
I hear you.
Excellent. Thank you all very much. I hope you're all having a great night. I am watching the meeting tonight because my social life is just that vibrant. I just wanted to offer a little supplementary information regarding a comment that was made during the town accountant's presentation about the potential of the vendor checks to be check washed.
Okay.
There was a comment that I think it's a great concern to raise. To the best of my knowledge, the toner cartridges on which our vendor checks are printed are not indelible ink. And while indelible ink is resistant to common check washing agents like acetone, benzene, carbon tetrachloride, bleach, etc., for the peace of mind of the board and the committee, I just wanted to let everybody know that I have implemented a technology known as pay positive pay, which means at the time that we create a vendor check file and issue vendor payments, a check file from our accounting software Vadar is directly uploaded to the institution, and it requires a
a 4-point exact match between the check date, the check dollar amount, the check number, and the exact payee line. So if there are any circumstances wherein the exact name of the payee issued on the vendor check does not match the vendor file, it kicks back to us for manual decisioning. So while the checks themselves may be susceptible to check washing, we do have a technology in place to anticipate and prevent fraudulent checks from going through. And we do occasionally get innocuous charges that come through, such as a perfectly legitimate payment to ABC Corporation. However, the second line might say accounts receivable department or something to that nature. We actually are sometimes even required to manually decision things that the top line matches perfectly, but there's supplementary information on the secondary line. So I just wanted to provide for the peace of mind of everybody present that we do have really robust cybersecurity policies in place, and we do have all the technology lined up to prevent. So even in the event that a check was intercepted from the mail and check wash, we do have systems in place to prevent fraudulent payments from going through. Thank you.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you, Paul.
So, I appreciate the information.
Yeah, so I guess like when the clerk was talking about the service contract, I kind of thought that was in one spot. It would probably make sense for something like that to be, so you can, all right, yeah, her printer broke.
Right.
We can get her a new one. Serena's printer breaks.
Absolutely. I feel everyone throws a couple $100 at it in every department, and we might find a little bit of savings if we just had one main account for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. If that's something we could explore.
We'll check it out to
Thank you.
Ann Kerwin, because she usually handles that.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Any other comments for this evening? No? Okay, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I made the motion.
Opposed? The ayes have it.